So again, I'm Steve Erickson and welcome this morning. My presentation will be about 20 minutes in length. There's going to be plenty of room for questions and answers at the end. You might want to think of what type of questions you have. If they're of a personal nature, I will hang around. We could talk one-on-one about that afterwards. So let me start with what is Celebrate Recovery? It's been around for 35 years. It's in over 30,000 churches around the country. It's in 30 different languages. And I'm just saying these things not to impress you, but to impress you. When I first learned of Celebrate Recovery, I didn't know it was this big. It is so all-encompassing. It's obviously worldwide too, because it's in 30 different languages. So 35 years ago, they took the 12-step program, which you all are familiar with, but they incorporated or integrated the 8 Beatitudes from the book of the Bible, Matthew, which are the 8 Beatitudes. Type of things qualify, or it's really anything that we call a hurt, a habit, or a hang-up. And under that is drug addiction, of course, alcohol, divorce, sexual abuse, codependency is a huge one, domestic violence, sexual addiction, food addiction, gambling addiction, pornography, and a big one, kind of a newish one, is isolation, especially with COVID and the advent of these things and tablets. People aren't leaving their homes, and isolation, I feel strongly, can lead to drugs, alcohol, divorce, all of the above. That they really can lead to that. So who, if they're honest, does not have a hurt, a habit, or a hang-up of some type? I think if you did a show of hands, everybody would actually raise their hands. So that's just a broad scope of what Celebrate Recovery is. I'm going to give you some websites later on that you can learn a whole lot more as we get into the question and answer segment. So where do we meet? We meet at Faith Community Church in Fort Atkinson. I am a member there. They're super supportive of us. We're not that old. We're in our 20th month. We began October 1 of 2021. Weekly, what do we have? We have 20 to 30 participants. We have room for 100 because of the structure of the building. We could handle a lot more. We're also ready as a ministry. It takes time to develop, to have the support in different areas, and we are ready for that, the growth. Always supported by the church. I went to the church in 2021, early in 2021, and they were just bring it on. We need this. One of my first sermons, excuse me, that I listened to at Faith Community Church. We've only been members there about 3 years. The pastor said, we're not a country club, we're a rehab center. So I thought, okay, well, this is probably a pretty good place for a Celebrate Recovery. Not all churches support their Celebrate Recovery ministry. That's why I mentioned that. We have childcare. We're the only one in the state of Wisconsin, one of the few in the United States that offers it. It's a hassle trying to find people to volunteer to do childcare on a Monday evening. From 6:30 to 8:15 is when we meet every Monday. Rain, shine, doesn't matter what's going on with holidays, like Memorial Day. We had a lot more people than I thought attend. We also do something I don't know that anybody else does. We serve dinner. So my wife, bless her heart, did the first year basically of providing a meal for 30 every Monday night. And then you have to haul it to the church. So it's a big commitment. Why do we do it? There's as you know, as you sit down and break bread with somebody, it changes the dynamics of the conversation. So that's why we do it. As people come into this environment, it has to be safe, number one, meaning it's confidential. And if you can say, hey, why don't you grab a bowl of soup, bowl of chili, it just breaks down the ice. So I mentioned this earlier, safe and confidential. It's paramount. So whatever is said in the walls stays within the walls. People have to know that what they're talking about is not going to be gossiped about in the county of Jefferson. We actually have attendees outside of the county of Jefferson because they want to be confidential. I think it's rather hard if you're a member of this church to attend. We do have it, but I think it's hard because you don't want to let other people know that you have any issues. Last one bullet on this slide is that we are forward looking, regardless of what's already happened. The solution is to start making wise choices and depend on the proven steps to help make changes. So we need to know what your past is, but we're not going to dwell on it because we want to move forward. Also, I need to make this a pretty important point. Less than a third is alcohol and drugs, not just in Port Atkinson, Wisconsin, but nationwide. A tremendous amount of anger, a tremendous amount of codependency, and sexual addiction is rampant. Pornography is all over the place. So that surprised me. I thought a big share of it would be alcohol and drugs. And we have those issues and situations, but it's not as big as I thought. By the way, I don't know if you said this is so good, you can pick up pictures. There's a picture on the wall of the round bales that farmers do. And I don't know if you all knew this, but cows don't like that. They don't like that. They prefer the square bales. That way they get a square meal.
I was like, where's he going?
Right.
Where's he heading with this?
That's
Okay, great humor. As part of the program, there's no extra charge. So.
Can I just ask a question if you don't mind? So as far as you saying that there was like the increase, especially with like the sexual pornography and all of that, did you see a lot of it increase due to the isolation of COVID or after the fact, or has it kind of stayed or remained consistent?
Sure. So keep in mind, we started in 2021, well after COVID.
That's true.
So I think statistics are showing that's an accurate statement.
Okay.
That, yeah, there's a lot more of that because it's, you're a click away. And as you see with pop-ups, anything that you are slightly interested on your tablet pops up, right? So yes, I would say yes to that. So who am I? I was a financial planner for 35 years. I retired 4 years ago. Managed over 120 million of assets for Thrivent Financial. But I abused alcohol as a coping mechanism for all those many years. It ramped up when I retired because happy hour could start at noon. So why did I use alcohol? Because I'm a self-starter, self-reliant type A human being, and I can fix or do anything on my own. And I didn't need any help with stuff, right? So my thought was, why hit rock bottom? Did I have a problem? Well, I'm from Wisconsin and everybody drinks. There is alcohol everywhere, at everything, and every event that you go to. And it's part of our culture. I'm from Wisconsin, so that was one of my justifications, right? And those are accurate statements. They are accurate statements. But I got to the point, as I said, when I retired, and I had that I was drinking too much. Was I having DUIs? Was I abusive? No. Did anybody know I had a problem? No. When I announced that I quit drinking, actually the day that I started the ministry, which is probably not recommended, but God spoke to me and said, look, Steve, I want you to start this recovery program in Jefferson County. You can't be drinking. Okay. I tried, let's do 2 drinks a day. My doctor even said, hey, 2 drinks a day is healthy, right? A couple of glasses of red wine is okay. I tried that. It didn't work. So I quit. So prevention is part of Celebrate Recovery. We could get into a lot of the details, which I'm not going to here. If you want to talk about it one-on-one, we can. But recovery really has, there's the addictions, there's craving, They control the amount of the frequency of use, their compulsion to use, despite the consequences. Those are all the 4 C's, as those are called. And then there's 6 different theories of addiction. So we've studied those, we know those, and Celebrate Recovery really covers all of those, which I'll chat a little bit more in just a second. So I heard that, and I went to the pastor, and he says, let's do it. So we started it. Came up with was that alcohol was lording over Steve. I didn't like that. It was controlling me. Again, being a self-reliant control type person, I didn't like something else controlling me. And that was really pointed out to me in a big way. And this program helped me, but we're seeing so much success. The big one that we see as a success is codependency. So many people will come in with their brother or their mother or their best friend will bring them in, and then the best friend or mother will go, I'm codependent with the person I brought. And we're seeing, sometimes it's just recognition that you're having an issue. So what's next today in terms of our, I want to call it partnership with Jefferson County? And thank you so much. The Drug Coalition of Jefferson County, it's so needed. It's a wonderful program, and we're just honored that you even thought of us. So check out our websites. They're on the PowerPoint. It's real easy. Google Celebrate Recovery. The national site will come up. All sorts of information in there. We also have a local one that's on the right-hand side of the bullet. And or call me. My contact, that we have business cards here. If you remember what those are those cardboard things. But we do have some. Or just call the church, Faith Community Church in Fort Atkins, so they can connect me to you, or talk to Vanessa. Vanessa's been so gracious, Vanessa Kowalski, and helpful with getting this going. So I can't thank her enough. Thank you. We are starting a Jefferson Jail Ministry that's called CR Inside, Celebrate Recovery Inside. That's going to happen in the next couple of months. They are all for it. It was in the Jefferson jails pre-COVID, and then for kind of obvious reasons, it stopped. So that's going to start up very shortly. I'm not going to head that up. That's going to be another individual who's been attending ours. He's on our leadership team. He's very equipped to do it. We are on the approved list as a recovery program. Many times I will sign the form because the judge will say, you need to come to a recovery AA or Celebrate Recovery for whatever it is. And I will sign off proving that you attended. And how can we partner together? A big thing is awareness. Just let your constituents, your participants, whatever you call them, you're on the front line of a lot of this. So maybe you can say, hey, check out this website, or maybe attend the meeting. Those are type of things that you can do. And maybe you all, if you want to learn more, is I would urge you to come, and Vanessa's going to come in the near future. There's 2 parts to the meeting. There's the big meeting, and that's the same term that they use at Alcoholics Anonymous. The big difference between the two is they talk about a higher power. We don't. We talk about Jesus Christ is the higher power. That's the big difference between the two. We incorporate the book of Matthew through everything and other scripture, and they will not. They're a great program, but that's the difference between the two. But if you come, I would ask you just to stay for the first 45 minutes, because that's a big group. Then we break into small groups. Men and women are always separated, and we're not quite big enough yet, but it'd be ideal to have a sexual addiction group in a small group, pornography, anger, divorce, whatever issue it is. Right now, they're all kind of bunched together because of size. But we'd ask you not to attend that because it's pretty personal, right? What we ask and talk about in the small group is what's going on. How's your week been? What are you struggling with? Those type of things. So that's why we would ask you maybe not to attend that, but that'd give you a really good feel, plus you get a free meal. And my humor,
That's the second part is the
yes,
one-on-one
Correct.
and men and female.
yes, yep. Yeah, we start out with the large group, good question. In the large group, each week it just alternates. It's a lesson. There are 25 lessons. The first one is denial. Last week it was, ready. Are you ready? Because you have to be ready. You can't do anything unless you say, yeah, I can't push you to do anything. You have to do it yourself. But those lessons are teachings. And then the next week is a testimony. The testimony, most of them are recorded from people around the country. They're 25 minutes in length. They are gripping. It's so neat to see people come from that rock bottom and to accept help and to move on. We've had a few live ones, and those are even better, right? Unless it's mine.
Where can we find those videos?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So the question is, where can we find those videos? We do them every other week.
Okay.
At the Monday meeting in Fort Atkinson. However, there's a ton of them on YouTube, right? So if you put in YouTube, Celebrate Recovery, you'll see all sorts of testimonies and the lessons are in there as well.
Okay.
Is there something sorry, I should know this because I poked around on the website a little bit, but is there like just a listing that shows like this week for the month, how it's laid out, just so people could know what lesson number you're on and,
Yes.
you know, obviously which week it is for whether it's the testimony versus lesson?
Yes, if you go to our local website and go into resources, it'll tell you who's doing the testimony and or depending on what week it is, what the lesson is. So yes. So next, I think I've got that all covered. Let's open it up to some questions and answers. One question I would have, as you're thinking about that or typing in a question, is are there costs involved? And there are not. If you need resources, and there's a ton of really good resources, everything from daily devotional type things to what we call an inventory. You take an inventory of where you've been, where you are right now, and of course, where you want to head. So there's great resources that help guide you through that. Is there a cost for those? Yes, I do have a budget. The church, okay, and we have no income coming in. So, but if people say, hey, I can't afford this, we're not going to charge you for it. So, and we have everybody from homeless people to business executives. It's a wide range of people that are either sleeping in their vehicle or driving in their Mercedes. It's all over the place. And yet the family atmosphere and the love that's in the room has been really neat to watch. The church has a food pantry and a clothing pantry. That's the right word, right in the church, which it gets used. People need food and they need clothing. Yes, please.
Is it only for members of that church or who join Celebrate Recovery, or is that a resource I could use, for instance, with my parents I work with?
The
that
food
are
pantry
dealing
and
with-
clothing pantry specific? Yeah, it's, so we have the church structure, if you're not familiar, we have deacons,
Okay,
okay? And the deacons would interview. In other words, they'd ask you a couple of questions.
okay,
Quick answer, yes, it's open to everybody.
okay. Just 'cause I have a few resources, but I like collect a
Yeah,
lot for the
Yeah,
county.
they want to be careful that it's not
People
abused
just coming in
and
abusing
clean it out and then
exactly.
sell it,
Mhm.
which could
And do
happen.
you take donations as well?
Again, yes,
Awesome,
but we had like 400 cans of tuna.
okay,
So we're trying to, we don't want to turn away food,
right,
but it's, the deacons would be the people to talk
to see
to.
what you have or go
Yeah,
through the list, perfect.
And
thank you.
even for clothing as well, you would take like donations?
yes, and again,
Okay.
in a cautious manner,
Yeah, understandable.
right, so.
Do you ever like, I mean, and maybe this is something we could like talk in partnership with of, you know, a list, maybe, I don't know how often you guys do inventory or anything, but that would, you know, kind of tell us like if you needed like diapers for kiddos or an infant formula for the food pantry or whatever it would be.
Right. Right now, we're not, but that's a great question that I will add, or and it might be on the churches. Way, I think background checks on the childcare providers. There has to be a male-female combination. The men can't change diapers, I mean, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not just, hey, would you mind? So the church does a really good job of filtering that. Other questions?
I'm not seeing any online, however, we did have one participant, Alyssa, mention that she's glad to hear that the CR Inside program is starting back up, that we need groups like this in our local jails, so.
Yes, yeah, without question. It's a challenge. Yes.
And I imagine, and I apologize, I got here late, but so I know a little bit about Celebrate Recovery from my time in Fond du Lac.
Mhm.
And so they're just kind of a subset of the 12-step community, right? And like you said, it's very Christ-based.
Yes,
Christ-based. And I imagine it offers like that same opportunity to be of service and things like that, like all the members kind of do, or there's roles to fill. It's run like an AA meeting, except for adding the scripture and.
right,
Okay.
you're hired.
Okay,
That's seriously, it's a very nice description of what differentiates us. Yes. Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.